Coming up on 7 News Daybreak Sunday, the details on last night's Powerball drawing and what we've learned overnight. Plus, an Army Ranger comes to the rescue after a tanker overturned on Interstate 85. We'll hear how this Ranger did some quick thinking.
7 News Daybreak starts now.
Good Sunday morning to you. Thanks a lot for joining us. I'm Nicole Smith. Looking like another cold start to the morning. Our live camera over downtown Greenville right now. Storm Team 7 meteorologist Chris Still is standing by in the Weather Center with our forecast first. Good morning, Chris.
And good morning, Nicole. Radar continues to be dry and temperatures continue to be cold, but that weather pattern is going to kind of flip-flop over the next few days as we head toward a wetter but warmer pattern. Here's a look at our current temperatures. We are in the single digits up there in the mountains. Currently 8 degrees in Asheville, 19 in Greenville, single digits all the way down into Union where it is 7 degrees. Today, about like yesterday, and well, that was a cold day. We'll have high temperatures in the mid-30s. That'll put us about 29 degrees at noon for the afternoon. Highs right around 35. We do have some rain and some warmer weather on the way, and I'll talk more about that coming up in just a few minutes.
Thank you, Chris. Sad news for all of us who bought Powerball tickets. A lucky person in New Hampshire is starting their week off a lot richer. They won the jackpot worth more than $500 million. Only one ticket matched all 6 numbers. If the winner decides to take the lump cash sum, they'll take home about $352 million. So here are those winning numbers: 12, 29, 30, 33, 61, and Powerball 26. The jackpot grew after no grand prize winner was selected in Wednesday's drawing. And now a follow-up to a crash on Interstate 85. We brought you as breaking news Friday night at 10. We showed you the scene where a tractor trailer went off the road and caught fire. This accident could have had a different outcome if it wasn't for a group of people led by Army Ranger Alexi Newell. Newell was driving from North Carolina to Georgia after seeing a doctor who had been treating him for Hodgkin's lymphoma. After leaving his checkup, he saw the accident. The tractor trailer had already caught fire and the driver was still inside. Newell says he didn't think twice when he jumped out to help.
You know, I know the driver's side door was pinned by the trailer because of the way it crashed, so I went over to the passenger side, checked the door handle, kind of get in, tried to kick the window out. Somebody tossed me up a stick and I smashed out like that.
We've reached out to Highway Patrol for more information and to see how the driver is recovering. As for Newell's recovery, he says he is cancer-free. State troopers say a woman was killed when she fell out of a pickup truck on Interstate 85. It happened around 5:15 Friday night in the Chesney area. 3 people were in the front seat. Somehow the door opened and the passenger in the front right side fell out. Troopers say she was not wearing a seatbelt. The coroner says 68-year-old Shirley Lawing of Rutherfordton died at the hospital. 3 people were hurt after an apartment fire in Spartanburg. Spartanburg City firefighters were called out around 11:30 yesterday morning to Magnolia Townhomes on East Blackstock Road. Investigators say a contractor working in one of the units accidentally started the fire. One of the contractors was hurt trying to put out the flames. 2 other firefighters were also hurt, but they've been released from the hospital. We spoke to a resident who describes what he saw.
And my grandpa was throwing the trash away, and he told me some smoke in the roof, and I say maybe it's a dryer, and I come out and everything was full with the smoke.
The Red Cross is helping as many as 20 people who have been displaced. 7 units in total were damaged by that fire. New information this morning about the gunman in the Las Vegas shooting and his interactions with the hotel staff. Workers at Mandalay Bay Resort and Casino interacted with shooter Stephen Paddock in the days leading up to the mass shooting. Room service and housekeeping had contact with him and entered his suite more than 10 times, according to a statement from MGM Resorts. Housekeepers said they saw no signs of anything suspicious. You may remember 58 people were killed when Paddock opened fire on the crowd at the Country Music Festival. Also out of Las Vegas, O.J. Simpson is threatening to sue the Cosmopolitan over an incident there in November. In a letter sent to media outlets, Simpson's attorney said casino staff acted, quote, with malice and racial prejudice towards Simpson. Staffers are accused of making false claims about him. This allegedly happened after Simpson was released from prison. He's considering suing for at least $100 million. The Cosmopolitan released a statement saying it does not comment on potential litigation. Many people are reading a new best-selling book this weekend about the Trump presidency called Fire and Fury. The president has dismissed it as a work of fiction. Mr. Trump also declared himself, quote, a very stable genius. Errol Barnett has more on this.
Got a lot of work done, a lot of great work for the people.
Despite President Trump's important weekend at Camp David, where he's setting his 2018 agenda, he began the day defending his mental fitness, tweeting, quote, my two greatest assets have been mental stability and being like really smart, going on to say he is a very stable genius.
I did a quick interview with him a long time ago having to do with an article, but I don't know this man.
It's a defense against characterizations made by Michael Wolff, author of the book Fire and Fury.
I think that he's intellectually incapable of being president of the United States.
Wolff says he stands by his account, which relies on a wide range of White House staffers' perspectives.
The story that I've told seems to present this presidency in such a way that it says he can't do this job.
Today's Camp David press conference highlighted the president's support among Republicans, with congressional leaders meeting to discuss Mr. Trump's request of $18 billion for a border wall. Democrats demand any new funding address the status of undocumented workers' children.
In some form, Mexico will pay for the wall. The wall's going to happen or we're not going to have DACA.
And when pressed on if he encouraged Jeff Sessions not to recuse himself from the Russia investigation, the president was not clear.
The story, by the way, in the Times was way off, or at least off. But everything that I've done is 100% proper. That's what I do, is I do things proper.
Now, even though President Trump says he stands by his attorney general, Mr. Sessions was not invited to this weekend's retreat. The president also blames his former strategist, Steve Bannon, for allowing the Fire and Fury author into the White House, saying, quote, that is why Sloppy Steve is looking for a job. Errol Barnett, CBS News, the White House.
Wolff says they interviewed the president for 3 hours, but Mr. Trump says it never happened. If you've been to Nashville, you may have seen this building. The Lifeway Draper has been a prominent piece of Nashville's skyline and history, and now you can see it there. It is gone. It was imploded yesterday morning to make way for the new Hyatt Regency Hotel that will soon be there. People cheered as a 12-story building crumbled. Still to come on 7 News Daybreak Sunday, you need a lot of space to look at tons of RVs all in one place. We've got all the details on the RV and camping show in town this weekend. And now we're taking a live look outside at our Asheville camera, looking at the Biltmore house there. We'll be right back after this. The time now is 6:10. If you're looking for an RV, then the TD Convention Center is the place to be this weekend. This is the South Carolina RV and Camping Show. There are RVs of all shapes and sizes, including an all-in-one. It's an RV that's a utility hauler and a camper. It's a big show that requires a big space to show off all that stuff. Plus, if you're into camping, there's plenty for you to take part in.
Part of the beauty of this RV show, it's 275,000 square feet, over 500 units all under one roof. So instead of driving around this beautiful country, you can come to one place and you can see, I think, every manufacturer.
The RV and Camping Show continues today from 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. at the TD Convention Center. Tickets are $12 for adults. Children under 12 get in for free. Parking is $5.
Coming up, we'll let you know if the Tigers can stay undefeated in conference play despite needing overtime against the Cardinals. We'll have that and more next in sports.
Time now is 6:14. Storm Team 7 meteorologist Chris Still joining us now. Chris, I think what a lot of people are wanting to know is when is there any relief from the cold weather?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
April is in exactly 3 months.
Oh, jeez. So, oh, my gosh. Please tell us there's something sooner than that, at least.
Well, we can't guarantee what's in store for the rest of winter, but winter's only a couple of weeks old. Let's hope this isn't a sign, but there is some warmer weather on the way. Let's talk about that right now. In our forecast headlines, we have one more frigid day to get through today, so hang on to that as your glimmer of hope. We'll be thawing out as we head into the week ahead. In fact, we'll have some 60s headed our way before the end of the work week. We'll also have some rain come in for the second half of the week as well. Here's your Sunday forecast. One thing for sure, we'll be rain-free. One reason, because it's 18 degrees outside and it wouldn't be rain anyway, but we do have dry skies, and we're going to have dry skies out there today. Just very cold temperatures, 30 degrees. will be in the mid-30s for a high. Up in Nashville, well, we're actually in the single digits right now, so that 13 at 7 o'clock may be optimistic in most locations. We'll be in the 20s, low to mid-20s at noon. The afternoon high right about 35, and that's about it. Here's a look at those temperatures outside. These are not wind chills. These are actual temperatures. It is 11 degrees in Pickens right now, 18 in Anderson, single digits in Union, and coming in at clear skies and 7 degrees, 14 currently in Spartanburg, and we are 8 degrees down in Abbeville, 14 in Donalds. As we head into the mountains, a whopping 5 degrees in Marshall, 6 degrees in Hendersonville, and 11 degrees, a little toasty up there in Silva, and 5 degrees for a morning temperature in Marion. To give you an idea, the average low temperature in Asheville is about 27 degrees, not 8 degrees like you are right now. We do have dry skies on Doppler, so no frozen precipitation to worry about. There is a storm system forming to our west, currently in Texas right now, and it'll be gathering some moisture as it moves east and taps into the Gulf of Mexico. Now, it is arriving later than we thought it would a couple of days ago, and that's good news because it's going to be mighty cold out there again tomorrow morning. So here's a look at our next system on our computer model. We'll start the clock off at 9 o'clock today. Ahead of that, a good bit of sunshine with high pressure, Arctic high pressure still in control. Here comes our storm system on from the west, but this is 7 o'clock tomorrow morning when temperatures will be well below freezing. Still rain pretty much in Alabama, so I think we're going to start the day off dry on Monday. We're really not going to have a whole lot of rain from this storm system, but what we do have will be in the afternoon into the evening. This is 9 o'clock tomorrow night. A few sprinkles out of this storm system, but it will be after temperatures have risen to above freezing. Here's a look at your next 72 hours. One thing for sure, it will stay cold today. The high temperature around 36 degrees down into the low to mid-20s tonight. Showers late tomorrow, but that'll be after the 42 happens and not the 24. Then we're going to thaw out some on Wednesday, break out the tank tops with a high of 56 degrees. 53 on Wednesday. Look at those 60s headed our way by Thursday and Friday. Notice, Nikhil, we don't have a lot of sunshines on the graphic, so really not a lot of rain, but really just kind of a cloudy, dreary pattern, but at least it's going to be warmer.
Yeah, so it's kind of a give and take. You get a little bit of a wet day, but at least it's warmer than what we've had. And the cold has just been prolonged, it seems like, for the last week or so.
It gets cold around here. It's been a long cold spell, yet no record low temperatures.
Wow, that's hard to believe.
Very bitter cold, but it's been colder.
All right, thank you, Chris. Coming up next, Todd Summers will let us know if the Falcons can go on the road and upset the Rams in the playoffs. Stay with us. Sports is next.
All of the Asheville numbers are negative numbers for records, and ours are all single digit.
Oh.
Here? Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Absolutely. No, it's not awkward for me at all. I can't really look at that monitor to see where I'm at without it looking like I'm looking at a monitor to see where I'm at.
Maybe this one? Maybe this dot right here?
Is this a good spot to stand? Put me where you want me.
So maybe don't go past this edge right here.
Really?
Okay, so definitely lining up with this dot.
Is that too far? Okay.
Okay. Now you look so far away. Chris, hello.
Yeah, you have to understand, Nikhil and I used to work at the station where the desk was about this big.
The first game of the wild card round is indeed wild. The Chiefs lead the Titans 21-3 at the half, but Tennessee, they've seen miracles before. Midway through the third quarter, Marcus Mariota rolls left, tries to throw to the end zone. The ball is tipped right back to Mariota, who essentially throws a 6-yard touchdown pass to himself. Are you kidding me? Down 5 with just over 6 minutes to go. Marcus Mariota gives a more conventional touchdown pass to Eric Decker, this one from 22 yards away, and it proves to be the game winner as the Titans come back from 18 points down in the second half to stun the Chiefs. Final score 22-21. Of the 6 NFC teams to make the playoffs, only the 6-seeded Falcons made the postseason a year ago, and that experience matters as Matt Ryan and crew travel to Los Angeles to take on the Rams. Second quarter, Devonta Freeman goes straight ahead and fights his way in for the 3-yard touchdown to help Atlanta jump out to a 13-0 lead. Under 6 minutes to play in the game, Matt Ryan, while falling backward, flips the ball out to Julio Jones, who brings it down for an 8-yard touchdown. Jones finishes with 94 yards receiving in the contest, and Atlanta, the 6th seed, goes on the road and upsets the 3-seed Los Angeles Rams. Final score 26-13. When the Panthers hit the field late Sunday afternoon in New Orleans to face the Saints in the wild card round, Ron Rivera will do so with some added stability. The 7-year Panthers head coach agreed to a 2-year extension on Sunday that will extend his current contract through the 2020 season. At the U.S. Army All-American Bowl, a handful of Clemson signees, including Trevor Lawrence and Xavier Thomas, among others, showcasing their skills on national television. Just over 3 minutes to play in the game, Lawrence buys some time with his feet, rolls left, and hits Georgia commit James Cook for a 10-yard touchdown as the East cuts the West lead to 17-16. So the East squad goes for 2 and the win. But the double reverse trick play trying to go back to Lawrence for the game winner, well, it doesn't even come close to working. West beats East. Final score 17-16. From the college game on Saturday, Georgia Tech hired Nate Woody to be its new defensive coordinator. Prior to spending 5 seasons at Appalachian State, Woody was the defensive coordinator at Wofford for 13 seasons and also played for the Terriers in the early 80s. In Frisco, Texas, James Madison putting its 26-game winning streak on the line versus North Dakota State in the national championship game. Second quarter, Easton Stick throws deep, and Darius Shepard brings it down for a 50-yard touchdown as North Dakota State knocks off defending national champ JMU 17-13 to secure a 6th national title in 7 years. Oh, what a difference a year makes. Last season, Louisville beat Clemson by 32 points. This season, the 25th-ranked Tigers are actually favored against the unranked Cardinals as they go in search of a 10th straight win. Midway through the first half, Marquise Reed comes up with a steal, and he slams home 2 of his game-high 24 points. Game tied at 23 at the break. Midway through the second half, Shelton Mitchell with the basket and the foul, part of a 17-4 run that turns a 5-point deficit into an 8-point lead. Under 2 minutes to go, down 2. The Tigers with some nice passing. Elijah Thomas with the basket inside to tie the game at 55. We head into overtime, and the Tigers open OT on a 10-2 run. Gabe DeVoe with back-to-back threes. He finishes with 8 of his 13 points in overtime as Clemson improves to 14-1 overall with a 74-69 win over Louisville.
We showed in overtime that we can score and play better offense, but I'm really pleased that we could win a game where we had to defend.
One of the keys for Clemson's win, free throw shooting. The Tigers were 17 of 20 from the line, including 11 of 14 in overtime. The Tigers are now 3-0 in the ACC for just the 5th time ever. In Columbia, South Carolina playing host to Vanderbilt, the Gamecocks come in having lost 3 straight versus Division I teams. Midway through the first half, Chris Silva takes it strong to the hoop and slams home 2 of his career-high 27 points. Still, South Carolina down 2 at the break. Early second half, a Silva lining indeed as the big fella rocks the rim once again. Gamecocks up by 1. A couple minutes later, Wesley Myers with a tough lay-in for 2 of his 17 points, part of a 13-3 Gamecock run, and South Carolina holds on from there to get the victory over Vanderbilt. Final score 71-60. In the SoCon, Wofford going in search of its 7th win in 8 games. The Terriers playing host to the Citadel first half. Keve Aluma with the rebound and one-handed follow jam. However, the Terriers heat up a little bit later as well. Check out Fletcher McGee with the nice Euro step, puts it off the glass and in for 2 of his 11. Nathan Hoover comes off the bench to score a game-high 21 points, including 5 threes, as Wofford powers past the Citadel. Final score 109-90. Elsewhere in the SoCon, Furman playing host to Mercer, down 9. The Paladins go on an 11-0 run. Daniel Fowler with 3 of his team-high 21 points. Game tied at 59. A couple minutes later, Fowler strikes again, this time with a slam to put the Paladins up by 2. Under 3 minutes to play, this Daniel Fowler 3 puts Furman up for good as the Paladins pick up a 3rd straight conference win, beating the Bears. Final score 74-71. In Newark, New Jersey, USC Upstate playing its ASUN opener versus the New Jersey Institute of Technology. Spartans start fast over 2 minutes into the game. Ramel Tompkins, 3 of his 16 points on the day, but the Highlanders have a little too much as they hand the Spartans their 13th loss of the season. Final score 98-87. In Lynchburg, Virginia, Presbyterian going in search of its 8th win in 10 games. The Blue Hose taking on Liberty midway through the first half. Francois Lewis from way downtown beats the shot clock for 3 of his 15 points. Blue Hose up by 1 late in the half. Reggie Dillard with the pretty floater for 2 of his 18 points. PC up 5 at that point. However, the Flames heat up after that. Cool off the Blue Hose. Liberty wins. Final score 60-48. And coming up later today, once again, the Panthers play 3-2-1. And coming up later today, once again, the Panthers will play in New Orleans against the Saints in the wild card round. That's all for now. Let's send it back over to the desk.
Coming up in the second half hour of Daybreak Sunday, a new search expected to start soon to find a missing plane that disappeared over 3.5 years ago.
Cool off the Blue Hose. Liberty wins. Final score 60-48. And coming up later today, once again, the Panthers play 3-2-1. And coming up later today, once again, the Panthers will play in New Orleans against the Saints in the wild card round. That's all for now. Let's send it back over to the desk.
Coming up on Daybreak Sunday, the latest details on last night's Powerball drawing worth over $500 million. Plus, a look across the country as we experience below freezing temperatures and the latest details on South Carolina's biggest airport after the coast was hit with snow.
7 News Daybreak starts now.
Very good Sunday morning to you. Thanks a lot for joining us. I'm Nicole Smith. Not a bad start to the morning there at our city cam, looking live outside in downtown Anderson. Storm Team 7 meteorologist Chris Still is standing by in the Weather Center with our forecast first.
Well, the good news is the coldest weather in several years is just about over, and temperatures are going to be warming up. They're not doing that just yet. And that may be a good thing because Doppler radar is dry this morning, and temperatures, well, they're very cold. They're in the single digits in the mountains, mid-teens across the upstate. 14 there in Spartanburg, 10 in Gaffney, even a single digit there in Union. Their latest temperature at 7 degrees. One more cold day today. In fact, for all practical purposes, today is identical to what we saw yesterday, and that was a very cold day. Sunshine when you get out of church, you'll be 29 degrees in the upstate, 27 in the mountains. Highs today only in the mid-30s. There's some rain headed our way toward tomorrow. We'll let you know if the cold weather gets out of here in time for the rain. Coming up in your full forecast in a few minutes.
All right, Chris, thank you. We start off with some sad news this morning for all of us who bought Powerball tickets. Only one ticket matched all 6 numbers, and that ticket was sold to someone in New Hampshire. They won the jackpot worth more than $500 million. The jackpot grew after no grand prize winner was selected in Wednesday's drawing. If the winner decides to take the lump cash sum, they'll take home about $352 million. So here are those winning numbers. There are 12, 29, 30, 33, 61, and Powerball 26. And brutally cold temperatures have followed the massive snowstorm that slammed the East Coast on Friday. Brooke Silverbraga has a look at the country's deep freeze.
Think of it as like opening your freezer, but that cold, taking over your whole house.
The blast of Arctic air has taken over whole sections of the country.
It felt like we were in the middle of Siberia or something.
In Philadelphia, an apartment fire battled in sub-zero wind chills killed 2 people, including a firefighter caught under collapsed debris.
I'm here since Thursday.
At New York's JFK airport, weather-driven delays fueled frustration. Many passengers complained they spent the night in the terminal without flight information or access to their bags.
This is the worst ending to the holiday season here in New York.
In Mount Washington, New Hampshire, the wind chill was negative 90, the air temp minus 37. Blowing a bubble and watching it freeze, that was pretty cool too. Officials in Boston warned locals that despite appearances, the Charles River isn't safe to walk across. There were no such concerns for ice skaters in Chicago.
I want to go back to Texas.
But parts of the South are chilly too. In Central Florida, dozens of manatees gathered in a canal, huddling for warmth. Cruisers on the Norwegian breakaway sailed into the storm during their return trip from the Bahamas to New York. Passengers say the ship started leaking. The cruise line apologized, saying the weather was worse than they expected.
I'll never go on any type of boat again in my life after this.
It's now 12 days and counting since the temperature went above freezing here in New York City, and that's a special concern for the homeless. So the city has added 450 warm beds, but advocates say homelessness is at record highs, and many will be outside tonight. Brooke Silverbraga, CBS News, New York.
In Charleston, the international airport there says they will resume normal operations today. This is after that winter storm hit the East Coast. The airport says a single runway was cleared of snow. The Air Force, which shares the runways with the airport, hired several snowplows to do a lot of that work. We now know the name of a man killed in a single car crash in Oconee County. It happened on Friendship Road just before 10 last night. The Oconee County Coroner's Office tells us 28-year-old Brandon Harley of Fairplay died at the scene. Highway Patrol says Harley was driving south on Friendship Road when he ran off the side of the road and hit a tree. Troopers say he was not wearing a seatbelt at the time of the crash. Also in Oconee County, fire crews are investigating a house fire there. This video here came to us from Oconee County Emergency Services. The fire chief says it happened just after midnight yesterday on Hideaway Point in West Union with a call out for a fire around a chimney. Investigators believe the fire started because residents were trying to stay warm on another cold night. Oconee County Emergency Services says it took about 45 minutes to bring that fire under control. The two people inside the home were able to make it out safely. Deputies in Haywood County are working to figure out if a house fire and truck crash are somehow related. A call came in around 4:30 yesterday morning for a house fire on Westbrook Circle in Clyde. The sheriff's office says 2 adults and 2 children were in the home at the time. One of the adults went to the hospital where they were treated. The fire caused extensive damage. Shortly after the call, deputies got a call about a stolen truck. Troopers say that truck crossed the center line, lost control, and hit a tree on Old Clyde Road about half a mile from the fire. The driver died at the scene. Deputies identified him as 42-year-old Niles Burke Jr. of Clyde. A follow-up to a crash on Interstate 85 we brought you as breaking news Friday night. We showed you the scene on I-85 where a tractor trailer went off the side of the road and caught fire. The accident could have had a much different outcome if it wasn't for a group of people led by an Army Ranger named Alexi Newell. Now, Alexi says he didn't even have to think twice when the time came to help someone in need. 7 News reporter Tobias Rodriguez has the story.
Kind of threw on my shoes really quick, jumped out, and I wanted to run over there and make sure the driver was okay.
It was purely by chance that Alexi would cross paths with this accident, but he is glad he was able to help out. He was driving from North Carolina to Georgia after seeing a doctor who was treating him after a diagnosis of Hodgkin's lymphoma. Alexi stopped to help because he knew his Army Ranger training could be the difference between life and death for the driver.
You know, I know the driver's side door was pinned by the trailer because of the way it crashed, so I went over to the passenger side, checked the door handle, kind of get in, tried to kick the window out, somebody tossed me up a stick, and I, smashed out like that.
Alexi says it was a team effort. One person had a fire extinguisher to put out the fire that had already started on the engine. Once he was able to get to the driver, he says he tried to keep him calm and alert.
I found his phone, gave it to him so he could call his wife, and then that turned into keeping his wife calm. I told her, hey, my name's Lex. I'm in the truck with your husband right now. Everything's going to be fine.
Alexi knows how it feels to be in a position where you can't take life for granted, but he remains humble through his heroic actions. He has one simple message of support for the driver he helped save.
The driver's watching, I hope you're doing okay. Hope the family's okay.
That was Tobias Rodriguez reporting. Now, we have reached out to the South Carolina Highway Patrol for more information on this accident and to see how the driver is doing. As for Alexi's recovery, he says he is cancer-free. Some people in Texas who were displaced or lost their homes during Hurricane Harvey will now get free mental health counseling. This is being offered across all affected areas by private and government-funded programs. Experts say the emotional distress caused by the storm can last for over a year. Several therapy groups are still getting new patients even 5 months after the storm hit. One counselor says short-term therapy could help after all those people have lost. Actor Jerry Van Dyke has died. His manager says he died Friday at his ranch in Hot Springs, Arkansas, with his wife by his side. He was the younger brother of Dick Van Dyke, but Jerry was probably best known for his role as a dim-witted assistant football coach in the TV show Coach that starred Craig T. Nelson. The series ran for 9 seasons and he received 4 consecutive Emmy nominations for his role. Jerry Van Dyke was 86 years old and there is no word yet on the cause of his death. Legendary astronaut John Young has died. NASA says Young died at his home in Houston Friday night from complications from pneumonia. During his 42-year career, Young was the only astronaut to go into space as part of the Gemini, Apollo, and Space Shuttle programs. That includes being the 9th man to walk on the moon. He later commanded the first space shuttle flight in Columbia in April of 1981 with Robert Crippen. He was the first to fly into space race 6 times. John Young was 87 years old. A new search for missing flight MH370 is about to get underway. The Malaysian government and U.S.-based Ocean Infinity are working on a contract that is expected to be finalized in the coming days. A spokesman for Ocean Infinity said the vessel seabed constructor has been moved toward the expected search zone. The Malaysian Airlines 370 flight disappeared on March 8, 2014 during a routine flight from Kuala Lumpur to Beijing. The search was called off at the beginning of last year after 3.5 years of searching. You may remember there were 227 passengers and 12 crew members on board that flight. Happening today, the Carolina Panthers are set to take on the New Orleans Saints in the wild card playoffs. New Orleans won both meetings in the regular season by 21 points in September and by 9 when the teams played last month. Saints rookie Alvin Kamara has been tough to catch. He's second in the league in total touchdowns. Coach Ron Rivera says earlier this week that Kamara was great balance, or he has great balance rather, so you have to hit and deliver in order to stop him. Kickoff is set for 4:40 this afternoon in New Orleans. Coming up on 7 News Daybreak Sunday, how 2 groups in the upstate came together to give back to those in need. Hear how these 2 groups say this is building bridges between them. Plus, cold weather was perfect time for a chili cook-off, and you can expect from the upstate business next month that hosted the event. The time now is 6:42. We're taking a live look outside at our downtown Anderson camera. Daybreak continues after this. Time now is 6:45. Two groups came together to help an upstate food bank. A group from Greenville's Islamic Center teamed up with a group from Travelers Rest United Methodist Church to volunteer at Harvest Hope Food Bank on Whitehorse Road yesterday. They both packed up food boxes to distribute to families in need.
Coming together from opposite ends of that spectrum and really showing that we are very similar and we have the same views and we are very passionate about serving others, then I think it's a good example to set for people in today's world.
I think this is a wonderful activity to do that not only, as I said, build bridges among the two communities, but also helps others as a result of that.
Those involved say it all started with some dinners between the Methodist Church and the mosque. Both wanted to do something to help the community and decided helping the food bank was a great way to do that. Now, with all this cold weather, it's the perfect time for a chili cook-off. For $5, people got the chance to sample chili for unlimited tastings and vote for their favorite chili. They also enjoyed some live music. This was held yesterday afternoon at Quest Brewing Company on Airview Drive in Greenville. It's the 4th year they've held the event.
And having, a fun place for people to go and enjoy, a chilly afternoon, and today it is. Really, we love having, that interaction within the community, kind of building our brand and letting people come out and kind of find out what Quest is all about.
Next month, Quest says they'll have a Sour Fest planned where they brew sours paired with cheese and chocolate for the community to check out.
And it is a chilly morning in Greenville. Plenty of clear skies out there. A hint of sun there on the horizon. We're going to need the sun again today. It's going to be another very cold day, but big changes are on the way. We'll have a look at what those changes are coming up in your 7-day forecast after the break.
Good morning. The time now is 6:51. Storm Team 7 meteorologist Chris Still is here. Now, yesterday it was cold, but it was actually beautiful outside.
Yes.
It was so bright and sunny, so kind of fooled you a little bit unless you went outside yourself.
Yeah. The cold air is very dry, very crisp, so you get the air really clear, really pretty. Just look at it from indoors because it is mighty cold. Let's talk about when the cold weather will relinquish its grip on us right now. One more frigid day today, so I got to warn you, it's going to be just as cold as it was yesterday. We will be thawing out after today, so I think to a lot of folks that's going to be some good news. Now, we are going to head into a cloudy, at times wet, kind of unsettled but warmer pattern as we move into the week ahead. Here's your pinpoint planner as we head through your Sunday, starting off in the mid-teens in the upstate, but by noon we're all the way up to 29 degrees. At least it's not going to be as windy out there today as it has been for the past few days, but still afternoon temperatures there in the mid-30s. Similar conditions for the mountain areas, starting off in the single digits, but we'll add a digit anyway by 8 o'clock. By 2 o'clock, we're up to freezing, and then this evening, temperatures cool off pretty quickly into the mid-20s, but 4 o'clock temperature in the morning of 25 compared to the 8 you had at 4 a.m. this morning. I guess you'll feel that. Still pretty cold. Right now, we're 8 degrees in Asheville, 18 in Clemson. Clear skies all across the area, but we have single digits all the way down to the south, 7 right now in Union. Here's a reason for why it's so cold. It all involves the jet stream, which separates the cold polar air from the warm tropical air. Normally this time of year you might find it up around the Canadian border. When you get a storm system to come through, it'll dip to the south. Well, it's dipped all the way down to Florida for the time being, and that's one reason they got snow to the south down in Florida, and we didn't see anything because all the storm systems were steered to the south. Now, as we head through the week ahead, this is your jet stream forecast. Thursday, Friday, notice a trough of low pressure back to the west, so they'll have some cold weather in the plain states, but we're going to have a ridge of high pressure in the jet stream developing, and that's going to allow some of those milder temperatures to finally make it into our area. Here's a look at our forecast model. Between now and the milder weather, we do have one weak storm system that will pass through on Monday. It's starting to get its act together back to the west in Texas. Most of the moisture with this one is going to stay to our south. It's also going to arrive late enough tomorrow that the temperatures will have warmed above freezing. This is 7 o'clock tomorrow morning. All the rain well to our west. Temperatures will be well below freezing tomorrow morning. We'll be in the upper 30s to lower 40s for high temperatures tomorrow by the time any rain or probably some drizzle moves into the area. But it looks like it will be liquid rain as it arrives late tomorrow, mainly tomorrow night. Here's your forecast for the next 72 hours. Sunny skies today, but staying cold. The high in the mid-30s, down into the mid-20s tonight, up to 42 tomorrow, and that's about the time the showers that we do get will move in. We're going to thaw out some on Tuesday. Highs all the way into the mid-50s, actually above average for this time of the year. Then we start to bring in some rain chances for the second half of the week. I think our wettest day will probably be Friday. Right now it looks like it could be Friday night into early Saturday, so maybe some rain to deal with next weekend.
Well, I'll take the umbrella if that means getting rid of a couple layers for sure, Chris.
Absolutely. It's going to feel nice.
All right, thank you. All right, we'll be right back after this. A man in South Carolina is giving a whole new meaning to having a cold one. Tim McCoy chills his beer by keeping it on top of his frozen pool. Someone recently took a picture of him cooling down his brew outside his house in Conway. The photo was later posted on Facebook, leading to McCoy's phone ringing off the hook. He says the trick did work, though, and kept his beer nice and cold. Coming up in the second hour of Daybreak Sunday, the moment a historic Nashville building was imploded, and it was all caught on camera. Stay with us. Coming up on 7 News Daybreak Sunday, the details on last night's Powerball drawing and what we've learned overnight. Plus, an Army Ranger comes to the rescue after a tanker overturned on Interstate 85. We'll hear how this Ranger did some quick thinking.
7 News Daybreak starts now.
A very good Sunday morning to you. Thanks a lot for joining us. I'm Nicole Smith. The sun is starting to come up over our Asheville. You see on the live city camera right now. Storm Team 7 meteorologist Chris Still is standing by in the Weather Center with our forecast first. Good morning, Chris.
And good morning, Nicole. What do you know? The cold weather hasn't gone anywhere. We're talking about dry skies on live Doppler radar. It continues to be temperatures that we're talking about, or lack of, I guess, if you will. 6 degrees right now in Hendersonville. Same thing over in Union, across the upstate, mid to upper teens. Right now, 14 degrees in Spartanburg and 18 in Clemson. Here's your forecast as you head through your Sunday. It looks like a carbon copy of what we saw yesterday, and that's going to put us in the 20s at noon. High temperatures in the middle 30s, about 35 by 5 o'clock. Very cold for your Sunday night as too. We'll be in the upper 20s this evening, but there is warmer weather on the horizon. We'll have a look at that coming up in a few minutes.
All right, Chris, thank you. Sad news for all of us who bought Powerball tickets. A lucky person in New Hampshire is starting their week off a lot richer. They won the jackpot worth more than $500 million. Only one ticket matched all 6 numbers. If the winner decides to take the lump cash sum, they'll take home a cool $352 million. So here are those winning numbers. They are 12, 29, 30, 33, 61, and Powerball 26. The jackpot grew after no grand prize winner was selected in Wednesday's drawing. Now a follow-up to a crash on Interstate 85 we first brought you as breaking news Friday night at 10. We showed you the scene where a tractor trailer went off the road and caught fire. This accident could have had a different outcome if it wasn't for a group of people led by Army Ranger Alexi Newell. Newell was driving from North Carolina to Georgia after seeing a doctor who had been treating him for Hodgkin's lymphoma. After leaving his checkup, he saw the accident. The tractor trailer had already caught fire and the driver was still inside. Newell says he didn't think twice when he jumped out to help.
You know, I know the driver's side door was pinned by the trailer because of the way it crashed, so I went over to the passenger side, checked the door handle, kind of get in. Tried to kick the window out. Somebody tossed me up a stick, and I, smashed out like that.
We've reached out to Highway Patrol for more information and to see how the driver is recovering. As for Newell's recovery, he says he is now cancer-free. State troopers say a woman was killed when she fell out of a pickup truck on Interstate 85. It happened around 5:15 Friday night in the Chesney area. 3 people were in the front seat. Somehow the door opened and the passenger in the front right side fell out. Troopers say she was not wearing a seatbelt. The coroner says 68-year-old Shirley Lawing of Rutherfordton died at the hospital. 3 people were hurt after an apartment fire in Spartanburg. Spartanburg City firefighters were called out around 11:30 yesterday morning to Magnolia Townhomes on East Blackstock Road. Investigators say a contractor working in one of the units accidentally started the fire. One of the contractors was actually hurt trying to put out the flames. 2 other firefighters were hurt, but they have been released from the hospital. We spoke to a resident who describes what he saw.
And my grandpa was throwing the trash away, and he told me some smoke in the roof, and I say maybe it's a dryer, and I come out and everything was full with the smoke.
The Red Cross is helping as many as 20 people who have now been displaced. 7 units in total were damaged by that fire. New information this morning about the gunman in the Las Vegas shooting and his interactions with the hotel staff. Workers at Mandalay Bay Resort and Casino interacted with shooter Stephen Paddock in the days leading up to that mass shooting. Room service and housekeeping had contact with him and entered his suite more than 10 times. That's according to a statement from MGM Resorts. Housekeepers said they saw no signs of anything suspicious. You may remember 58 people were killed when Paddock opened fire on the crowd at the Country Music Festival. Many people are reading a new best-selling book this weekend about the Trump presidency called Fire and Fury. The president has dismissed it as a, quote, work of fiction. Mr. Trump has also declared himself a, quote, very stable genius. Errol Barnett has more on this.
Got a lot of work done, a lot of great work for the people.
Despite President Trump's important weekend at Camp David, where he's setting his 2018 agenda, he began the day defending his mental fitness, tweeting, quote, my 2 greatest assets have been mental stability and being like really smart, going on to say he is a very stable genius.
I did a quick interview with him a long time ago having to do with an article, but I don't know this man.
It's a defense against characterizations made by Michael Wolff, author of the book Fire and Fury.
I think that he's intellectually incapable of being president of the United States.
Wolff says he stands by his account, which relies on a wide range of White House staffers' perspectives.
The story that I've told seems to present this presidency in such a way that it says he can't do this job.
Today's Camp David press conference highlighted the president's support among Republicans, with congressional leaders meeting to discuss Mr. Trump's request of $18 billion for a border wall. Democrats demand any new funding address the status of undocumented workers' children.
In some form, Mexico will pay for the wall. The wall's going to happen or we're not going to have DACA.
And when pressed on if he encouraged Jeff Sessions not to recuse himself from the Russia investigation, the president was not clear.
The story, by the way, in the Times was way off, or at least off. But everything that I've done is 100% proper. That's what I do, is I do things proper.
Now, even though President Trump says he stands by his attorney general, Mr. Sessions was not invited to this weekend's retreat. The president also blames his former strategist, Steve Bannon, for allowing the Fire and Fury author into the White House, saying, quote, "That is why Sloppy Steve is looking for a job." Errol Barnett, CBS News, the White House.
Wolf says they interviewed the president for 3 hours. Mr. Trump says it never happened. If you've been to Nashville, you may have seen this building. The Lifeway Draper has been a prominent piece of Nashville's skyline and history. And as you can see now, it is gone. It was imploded yesterday morning to make way for the new Hyatt Regency Hotel that'll soon be there. People cheered as the 12-story building came crashing down. Time now is 7:08. Still to come on 7 News Daybreak Sunday. You need a lot of space to look at a lot of RVs all in one place. We've got the details on the RV and camping show in town this weekend. Stay with us. Time now is 7:11. If you're looking for an RV, then the TD Convention Center is the place to be this weekend. This is the South Carolina RV and Camping Show. There are RVs of all shapes and sizes, including an all-in-one. It's an RV that's a utility, hauler, and a camper. It's a big show that requires a big space to show off all this stuff. Plus, if you're into camping, there's plenty for you to take part in, too.
Part of the beauty of this RV show, it's 275,000 square feet, over 500 units, all under one roof. So instead of driving around this beautiful country, you can come to one place and you can see, I think, every manufacturer.
The RV and Camping Show continues today from 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. at the TD Convention Center. Tickets are $12 for adults. Children under 12 get in for free. Parking is $5.
And a beautiful sunrise is underway in Greenville. There's a live look at our city cam. Sunrise this morning is at 7:37. There's a lot of sunshine in the forecast today, but it's going to be mighty cold. But warmer temperatures are on the way. We'll let you know how warm coming up after the break.
Coming up, we'll let you know if the Tigers can stay undefeated in conference play despite needing overtime against the Cardinals. We'll have that and more next in sports.
Time now is 7:15. Storm Team 7 meteorologist Chris Still joining us now. Chris, so if people don't mind the cold, it's actually not a bad day to be outside. It's pretty, actually.
It really is. It's gorgeous out there. You saw our city cam a minute ago, and that's because the air is so clear and dry.
Yes.
So good to look at, and if you like cold weather, I guess it feels pretty good too. But changes are on the way. Let's talk about what those are in our forecast headlines. Once we get through one more frigid day today, we are going to be thawing out in a pretty big way, especially toward the end of the week. We do have some rain headed our way. Not a lot of rain, but a lot of days that it could rain at least a little bit. So kind of a cloudy and dreary pattern, but a warmer pattern lies ahead. Now your Sunday is going to be full of sunshine. 9 o'clock in the morning, around 20 degrees. Temperatures nearly a ditto of what they were yesterday. 34 degrees at 2 o'clock. Into the 20s this evening. In the mountains, a little colder, but really similar for the afternoon. And the wind has died down too, so the 34 in the afternoon will feel like about 34 rather than 24 like it has the past few days, and then 20s head in here this evening. Right now, a lot of areas are in the single digits. We've actually fallen to 7 degrees in Asheville, 7 in Rutherford, 2, and 12 in Brevard, And our coldest weather actually in Union, you're sitting on 6 degrees. One reason it's so cold, or actually the reason it's so cold, is a huge dip in the jet stream. The jet stream separates the cold polar air from the warm tropical air. Normally it would be up to the north over somewhere like Chicago where it's 15 degrees right now, but instead it's over Tallahassee, Florida, when that's why we're as cold, actually colder than Chicago, Greer, currently at 14 degrees. We do have a storm system headed our way. That will bring our first chance of rain for the upcoming week, but by that time temperatures will be above freezing. We'll take a look at this on our forecast model. It looks like it's going to move a little more slowly than we thought a couple of days ago, so the coldest air will be gone and temperatures should be above freezing by the time any rain chances move in. Now Monday we'll start off dry. This is 7 o'clock in the morning, maybe even some sunshine in the morning, but that may be a little optimistic. For the afternoon, temperatures rise into the 40s. Heaviest rain stays to our south, as I think for tomorrow the storm systems will continue to pass to our south because the jet stream is so far to the south. So we'll miss out on most of that rain, but eventually the rain will find its way into our area toward the mid to latter part of the week. Here's your forecast for the next 72 hours. Highs today in the 30s, down into the mid-20s for a low tonight. Then we really start to thaw out on Tuesday, all the way up to a balmy 56 degrees. In the 50s again on Wednesday, and if that isn't good enough, how about those 60s coming in here Thursday and Friday? As the temperatures rise, rain chances will rise too, and that rain could last into the early part of next weekend.
All right, we'll keep the umbrellas handy, Chris. Thank you. All right, coming up next, Todd Summers will let us know if the Falcons can go on the road and upset the Rams in the playoffs. Stay with us. Sports is next.
The first game of the wild card round is indeed wild. The Chiefs lead the Titans 21-3 at the half, but Tennessee, they've seen miracles before. Midway through the third quarter, Marcus Mariota rolls left, tries to throw to the end zone. The ball is tipped right back to Mariota, who essentially throws a 6-yard touchdown pass to himself. Are you kidding me? Down 5 With just over 6 minutes to go, Marcus Mariota gives a more conventional touchdown pass to Eric Decker. This one from 22 yards away, and it proves to be the game winner as the Titans come back from 18 points down in the second half to stun the Chiefs. Final score 22-21. Of the 6 NFC teams to make the playoffs, only the 6th-seeded Falcons made the postseason a year ago, and that experience matters as Matt Ryan and crew travel to Los Angeles to take on the Rams. Second quarter, Devonta Freeman goes straight ahead and fights his way in for the 3-yard touchdown to help Atlanta jump out to a 13-0 lead. Under 6 minutes to play in the game, Matt Ryan, while falling backward, flips the ball out to Julio Jones, who brings it down for an 8-yard touchdown. Jones finishes with 94 yards receiving in the contest, and Atlanta, the 6th seed, goes on the road and upsets the 3-seed Los Angeles Rams. Final score 26-13. When the Panthers hit the field late Sunday afternoon in New Orleans to face the Saints in the wild card round, Ron Rivera will do so with some added stability. The 7-year Panthers head coach agreed to a 2-year extension on Sunday that will extend his current contract through the 2020 season. At the U.S. Army All-American Bowl, a handful of Clemson signees, including Trevor Lawrence and Xavier Thomas, among others, showcasing their skills on national television. Just over 3 minutes to play in the game, Lawrence buys some time with his feet, rolls left, and hits Georgia commit James Cook for a 10-yard touchdown as the East cuts the West lead to 17-16. So the East squad goes for 2 and the win. But the double reverse trick play trying to go back to Lawrence for the game winner, well, it doesn't even come close to working. West beats East. Final score 17-16. From the college game on Saturday, Georgia Tech hired Nate Woody to be its new defensive coordinator. Prior to spending 5 seasons at Appalachian State, Woody was the defensive coordinator at Wofford for 13 seasons and also played for the Terriers in the early 80s. In Frisco, Texas, James Madison putting its 26-game winning streak on the line versus North Dakota State in the national championship game. Second quarter, Easton Stick throws deep, and Darius Shepard brings it down for a 50-yard touchdown as North Dakota State knocks off defending national champ JMU 17-13 to secure a 6th national title in 7 years. Oh, what a difference a year makes. Last season, Louisville beat Clemson by 32 points. This season, the 25th-ranked Tigers are actually favored against the unranked Cardinals as they go in search of a 10th straight win. Midway through the first half, Marquise Reed comes up with a steal, and he slams home 2 of his game-high 24 points. Game tied at 23 at the break. Midway through the second half, Shelton Mitchell with the basket and the foul, part of a 17-4 run that turns a 5-point deficit into an 8-point lead. Under 2 minutes to go, down 2. The Tigers with some nice passing. Elijah Thomas with the basket inside to tie the game at 55. We head into overtime, and the Tigers open OT on a 10-2 run. Gabe DeVoe with back-to-back threes. He finishes with 8 of his 13 points in overtime as Clemson improves to 14-1 overall with a 74-69 win over Louisville.
We showed in overtime that we can score and play better offense, but I'm really pleased that we could win a game where we had to defend.
One of the keys for Clemson's win, free throw shooting. The Tigers were 17 of 20 from the line, including 11 of 14 in overtime. The Tigers are now 3-0 in the ACC for just the 5th time ever. In Columbia, South Carolina playing host to Vanderbilt, the Gamecocks come in having lost 3 straight versus Division I teams. Midway through the first half, Chris Silva takes it strong to the hoop and slams home 2 of his career-high 27 points. Still, South Carolina down 2 at the break. Early second half, a Silva lining indeed as the big fella rocks the rim once again. Gamecocks up by 1. A couple minutes later, Wesley Myers with a tough lay-in for 2 of his 17 points, part of a 13-3 Gamecock run, and South Carolina holds on from there to get the victory over Vanderbilt. Final score 71-60. In the SoCon, Wofford going in search of its 7th win in 8 games. The Terriers playing host to the Citadel. First half, Keve Aluma with the rebound and one-handed follow jam. However, the Terriers heat up a little bit later as well. Check out Fletcher McGee with the nice Euro step, puts it off the glass and in for 2 of his 11. Nathan Hoover comes off the bench to score a game-high 21 points, including 5 threes as Wofford powers past the Citadel. Final score 109-90. Elsewhere in the SoCon, Furman playing host to Mercer, down 9. The Paladins go on an 11-0 run. Daniel Fowler with 3 of his team-high 21 points. Game tied at 59. A couple minutes later, Fowler strikes again, this time with a slam to put the Paladins up by 2. Under 3 minutes to play, this Daniel Fowler 3 puts Furman up for good as the Paladins pick up a third straight conference win, beating the Bears. Final score 74-71. In Newark, New Jersey, USC Upstate playing its ASUN opener versus the New Jersey Institute of Technology. Spartans start fast over 2 minutes into the game. Ramel Tompkins, 3 of his 16 points on the day, but the Highlanders have a little too much as they hand the Spartans their 13th loss of the season. Final score 98-87. In Lynchburg, Virginia, Presbyterian going in search of its 8th win in 10 games. The Blue Hose taking on Liberty midway through the first half. Francois Lewis from way downtown beats the shot clock for 3 of his 15 points. Blue Hose up by 1 late in the half. Reggie Dillard with the pretty floater for 2 of his 18 points. PC up 5 at that point. However, the Flames heat up after that. Cool off the Blue Hose. Liberty wins. Final score 60-48. And coming up later today, once again, the Panthers will play in New Orleans against the Saints in the wild card round. That's all for now. Let's send it back over to the desk.
Time now is 7:27. Coming up in the second half hour of Daybreak Sunday, a new search is expected to start soon to find a missing plane that disappeared over 3.5 years ago. Stay with us. More after this. Coming up on Daybreak Sunday, the latest details on last night's Powerball drawing worth over $500 million. Plus, a look across the country as we experience below freezing temperatures. And the latest details on South Carolina's biggest airport after the coast was hit with snow.
7 News Daybreak starts now.
A very good Sunday morning to you. Thanks a lot for joining us. I'm Nikhil Smith. A beautiful start to the morning, as you can see live over downtown Spartanburg. Storm Team 7 meteorologist Chris Still is standing by in the Weather Center with our forecast first. Hey, Chris.
Hey, Nikhil, if by beautiful you mean cold, it is absolutely gorgeous outside because it is mighty cold. 8 degrees right now in Pickens, 18 in Clemson, 17 in Anderson, even some single digits over in Union as well as Gaffney. Temperatures there, 6 degrees in Union, 9 in Gaffney, 8 in Abbeville. You don't even have to go to the mountains to get single digits, but we do have some of those in the mountains as well. 5 degrees right now in Hendersonville, 10 in Silva, and 14 in Waynesville. 4 degrees currently in Marion, and clear skies in Rutherfordton at 7 degrees. Today's going to be a carbon copy of yesterday, and yes, that means it will be cold. 20s at noon, 30s for the afternoon, but warmer and possibly wetter weather is on the way. We'll have a look at that coming up in a few minutes.
All right, Chris, thank you. We start off with some sad news this morning for all of us who bought Powerball tickets. Only one ticket matched all 6 numbers, and that ticket was sold to someone in New Hampshire. They won the jackpot worth more than $500 million. That jackpot grew after no grand prize winner was selected in Wednesday's drawing. If the winner decides to take the lump cash sum, they'll take home about $352 million. So here are the winning numbers. They are 12, 29, 30, 33, 61, and Powerball 26. Brutally cold temperatures have followed that massive snowstorm that slammed the East Coast Friday. Brooke Silverbraga has a look at the country's deep freeze.
Think of it as like opening your freezer, but that cold taking over your whole house.
The blast of Arctic air has taken over whole sections of the country.
It felt like we were in the middle of Siberia or something.
In Philadelphia, an apartment fire battled in sub-zero wind chills killed 2 people, including a firefighter caught under collapsed debris.
I'm here since Thursday.
At New York's JFK airport, weather-driven delays fueled frustration. Many passengers complained they spent the night in the terminal without flight information or access to their bags.
This is the worst ending to the holiday season here in New York.
In Mount Washington, New Hampshire, the wind chill was negative 90, the air temp minus 37. Blowing a bubble and watching it freeze, that was pretty cool too. Officials in Boston warned locals that despite appearances, the Charles River isn't safe to walk across. There were no such concerns for ice skaters in Chicago.
I want to go back to Texas.
But parts of the South are chilly too. In central Florida, dozens of manatees gathered in a canal, huddling for warmth. Cruisers on the Norwegian breakaway sailed into the storm during their return trip from the Bahamas to New York. Passengers say the ship started leaking. The cruise line apologized, saying the weather was worse than they expected.
I'll never go on any type of boat again in my life after this.
It's now 12 days and counting since the temperature went above freezing here in New York City, and that's a special concern for the homeless. So the city has added 450 warm beds, but advocates say homelessness is at record highs, and many will be outside tonight. Brooke Silverbraga, CBS News, New York.
In Charleston, the international airport there says they will resume normal operations today. Now, this is after that winter storm hit the coast. The airport says a single runway was cleared of snow. The Air Force, which shares the runway with the airport, hired several snowplows to do the work. We now know the name of a man killed in a single car crash in Oconee County. It happened on Friendship Road just before 10 last night. The Oconee County Coroner's Office tells us 28-year-old Brandon Harley of Fairplay died at the scene. Highway Patrol says Harley was driving south on Friendship Road when he ran off the side of the road and hit a tree. Troopers say he was not wearing a seatbelt at the time of the crash. Also in Oconee County, fire crews are investigating a house fire there. Take a look at this video. This video comes to us from the Oconee County Emergency Services. The fire chief says it happened just after midnight yesterday on Hideaway Point in West Union with a call for a fire around the chimney. Investigators believe the fire started because residents were trying to stay warm on another cold night. Oconee County Emergency Services says it took about 45 minutes to bring the fire under control. 2 people inside the home were able to make it out safely. Deputies in Haywood County are working to figure out if a house fire and truck crash are related. A call came in around 4:30 yesterday morning for a house fire on Westbrook Circle in Clyde. The sheriff's office says 2 adults and 2 children were in the home at the time. One of the adults went to the hospital and were treated. The fire caused extensive damage, we're told. Shortly after the call, deputies got a call about a stolen truck. Troopers say that truck crossed the center line, lost control, and hit a tree on Old Clyde Road about half a mile from the fire. The driver died at the scene. Deputies identified him as 42-year-old Niles Burke Jr. of Clyde. Now, a follow-up to a crash on the interstate we brought you as breaking news Friday night. We showed you the scene on Interstate 85 where a tractor trailer went off the side of the road and caught fire. This accident could have had a different outcome if it wasn't for a group of people led by an Army Ranger named Alexi Newell. Alexi says he didn't even have to think twice when the time came to help someone in need. 7 News reporter Tobias Rodriguez has the story.
I threw on my shoes really quick, jumped out, and I wanted to run over there and make sure the driver was okay.
It was purely by chance that Alexi would cross paths with this accident, but he was glad he was able to help out. He was driving from North Carolina to Georgia after seeing a doctor who was treating him after a diagnosis of Hodgkin's lymphoma. Alexi stopped to help because he knew his Army Ranger training could be the difference between life and death for the driver.
I know the driver's side door was pinned by the trailer because of the way it crashed, so I went over to the passenger side, checked the door handle, kind of get in, tried to kick the window out, somebody tossed me up a stick, and I, smashed out like that.
Alexi says it was a team effort. One person had a fire extinguisher to put out the fire that had already started on the engine. Once he was able to get to the driver, he says he tried to keep him calm and alert.
I found his phone, gave it to him so he could call his wife, and then that turned into keeping his wife calm. I told her, hey, my name's Lex. I'm in the truck with your husband right now. Everything's going to be fine.
Alexi knows how it feels to be in a position where you can't take life for granted, but he remains humble through his heroic actions. He has one simple message of support for the driver he helped save.
The driver's watching, I hope you're doing okay. Hope the family's okay.
That was Tobias Rodriguez reporting. We have reached out to South Carolina Highway Patrol for more information on this accident and to see how the driver is doing. As for Alexi's recovery, he says he is now cancer-free. A new search for missing flight MH370 is about to get underway. The Malaysian government and U.S.-based Ocean Infinity are working on a contract that is expected to be finalized in the coming days. A spokesman for Ocean Infinity said the vessel seabed constructor has been moved toward the expected search zone. The Malaysian Airlines 370 flight disappeared on March 8, 2014 during a routine flight from Kuala Lumpur to Beijing. The search was called off at the beginning of last year after 3.5 years of searching. There were 227 passengers and 12 crew members on board that flight. Happening today, the South Carolina Panthers are set to take on the New Orleans Saints in the wild card playoffs. New Orleans won both meetings in the regular season by 21 points in September and by 9 when the teams played last month. Saints rookie Alvin Kamara has been tough to catch. He's second in the league in total touchdowns. Coach Ron Rivera says earlier this week that Kamara has great balance, so you have to hit and deliver to stop him. Kickoff is set for 4:40 this afternoon in New Orleans. The time now is 7:40. Coming up on 7 News Daybreak Sunday, how 2 groups here in the upstate came together to give back to those in need. Hear how these groups are saying this is building bridges between them. Stay with us. The time now is 7:43. Two groups came together to help an upstate food bank. A group from Greenville's Islamic Center teamed up with a group from Travelers Rest United Methodist Church to volunteer at Harvest Hope Food Bank on Whitehorse Road yesterday. They both packed up a lot of food boxes to distribute to families in need.
Coming together from opposite ends of that spectrum and really showing that we are very similar and we have the same views and we are very passionate about serving others, then I think it's a good example to set for people in today's world.
I think this is a wonderful activity to do that not only, as I said, build bridges among the two communities, but also helps others as a result of that.
Those involved say it all started with some dinners between the Methodist Church and the mosque. Both wanted to do something to help the community and decided that helping the food bank was a great way to do that.
And no worries about the ice thawing out in Spartanburg. A beautiful sunny morning there. Temperatures in middle teens, but there is some warmer weather on the way. We'll tell you about that in the 7-day forecast after the break.
Time now is 7:48. We showed you a video yesterday of Niagara Falls partially frozen, but take a look at this. This is a new video from the falls yesterday, and you can see all the ice covering the falls. This is because of obviously that cold snap that hit the Northeast. Yeah, it's always just still amazing to see how icy it is up there. Chris is joining us here now. I don't know if the falls in Greenville have any chances of freezing anymore after today, Chris?
Not this time,
Okay.
although yesterday morning and this morning we've been about as cold as that part of the country. So Might be something to look out for, but we are going to be warming up fairly soon. So let's take a look at our forecast headlines. One more frigid day today. We'll get above freezing this afternoon, but just barely, with temperatures in the middle 30s. After today, it gets warmer and warmer almost every day. Now, we do have clouds and some rain chances coming in, especially toward the end of the week. That will be something to watch as well. For your Sunday, a pretty quiet day. In fact, if you enjoyed Saturday, you'll love today. It's going to be a carbon copy. Plenty of sunshine, a lot of cold weather, 33 degrees at 3 o'clock, 20s if you happen to be headed out to dinner this evening. In the mountains, a frigid start. Many, in fact, most areas in the single digits right now. We'll be around 11 degrees in Nashville at 9 o'clock, 30 degrees by 1 o'clock, and middle 20s for the evening. Right now, these are not wind chill values. These are actual air temperatures. Currently 7 degrees in Nashville, but not to be outdone. Hendersonville just had to beat you with 5 degrees. Warmer in the upstate, 18 degrees in Greenville and 18 at this hour in Clemson. Around the country, the cold weather continues to be across the eastern half of the country. 14 degrees right now in Greer, not a lot colder in Minnesota right now. Minneapolis at 12. Notice the pocket of warmer temperatures out here in Texas. That's part of the, when the jet stream retreats to the north, those temperatures are going to finally move in here as we move into next week. Between now and then, we do have another storm system coming in, and it's going to be a race to see if the cold air gets out before the moisture moves in. But right now, it looks like the cold weather will leave, or the coldest weather anyway, before any precipitation arrives into the area. So Monday starts off dry. This is 7 o'clock on our computer model. Temperatures very cold in the morning. We'll be in the teens and lower 20s again tomorrow morning. By tomorrow afternoon, though, temperatures rise into the 40s. So any rain we get, which won't be much, will be in the liquid form, as the heaviest rain for the time being stays down to the south. Here's your forecast for the next 72 hours. One more very cold day to get through today. 36 the high temperature, but it won't be as windy as yesterday, so at least the wind chill factor won't be an issue. Down into the middle 20s tonight, 42 the high tomorrow, then we'll have a few late day sprinkles. Our best chance of rain, if I had to pin down one day, I think would be Friday, probably late in the day. Temperatures, though, Nikhil, getting a lot warmer. 63 on Thursday, mid-60s. Practically summertime by Friday.
I am so happy to see those 6. It's going to feel like summertime because we've been so cold for so long, isn't it?
Yeah, it's going to feel pretty warm. Not many times we all agree on the weather, but I think most of us will agree about those 60s.
I think so, too. All right, thank you, Chris. We'll be right back after this. Time now is 7:54. A man in South Carolina is giving a whole new meaning to having a cold one. Tim McCoy chills his beer by keeping it on top of his frozen pool. Someone recently took a picture of him cooling down his brew outside his home in Conway. The photo was later posted on Facebook, leading to McCoy's phone ringing off the hook. He says it did work though he did it actually because he was a little homesick.
Yeah, I'm from Indiana. And it's like I love to ice fish, so that was my closest next best thing to ice fishing. So I figured I'd just get up there, sit down, and have me a beverage.
That makes a lot of sense. The outside temperature has been dropping into the lower teens at night over the weekend. McCoy says the trick works and the frozen pool does indeed keep his beer cold. Good for him. But take a look at this. A dog enjoyed a rare treat in Ireland on Wednesday. The dog played in the sea foam created by a strong storm there. You can see him hopping up and down as he disappears into the foam. That looks really cool. According to the National Ocean Service, sea foam is bubbles actually caused by the waves being agitated by wind, but made that pup very happy. Some cool visuals there for sure. And how cool is this? Or maybe we should say, how cold is this? It's an ice castle that opened up in Minnesota. A company has been working for about 4 weeks to build this ice-carved tunnels, fountains, slides, and a lot more. Media outlets say the castle is made from 25 million pounds of ice, and this year it's full of LED lights. This is the second year for the castle, and the company expects at least 100,000 visitors. That is absolutely beautiful. I was waiting to see what this actually looks like, and it looks really cool, right, Chris?
I guess Anna and Elsa didn't want to talk on camera.
I guess they didn't. Yeah, they have to have something to do with this, right? But it's really beautiful, though. Yeah.
All right. Well, let's shift gears a little bit and do color your weather and warm things up a bit. I picked a warm photo again today. Nice rainbow picture from Maddox B at Campobella Grambling School in Spartanburg County. Thank you for that. We need new pictures for Color Your Weather. So kids, if you're watching, go to our website, print one of those forms out, and color your weather. There's your 7-day forecast. It won't be very colorful the next 7 days. We're going to have a lot of gray weather, even some rain toward the end of the week, but most importantly, 66 on Friday.
Some relief in sight. Thank you, Chris. And thank you for watching. Remember, you can always get the latest news on WSPA.com. Have a great day.